This thing looks like the ultimate beach truck.
Yeah, man.
We're turning this 22 F-350 into a Raptor.
So we're going with a shorter bed, so we're not gonna need this portion of the frame.
We're gonna have to shorten the wheelbase.
Yeah.
A wolf in sheep's clothing.
All right, we're loose.
Adding the factory panoramic roof, gonna put this build even more over the top.
We're gonna make a roof sandwich.
Ow.
And that there is why I have black thumbs.
Building this piece on the 64 rolls is the hardest part with all the curves and contours in it.
There's no manual to this. You kind of just have to let the metal talk to you.
I love that.
Wow, that thing looks great.
I told you.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
What's happening, man?
How are you? Nice meeting you.
Hey,
Carmen.
man. Carmen, nice to meet you, Bill. All the way from New Jersey, huh? Man, that's a long drive. You've been in the driver's seat for a while.
A little over a day.
Yeah. A nice looking truck you got.
Thank you, I love it. I just picked up a brand new F-350. I've always loved these trucks. I've been driving one-ton diesels since the 90s, but I have an idea. So I want you to turn this into a F-350 one-ton diesel Raptor.
Man, I love it. I love projects like this. I love cutting up brand new trucks.
I know. A lot of people think I'm nuts, but I want a diesel Power Stroke Raptor.
You can't buy one of those, can you?
Cannot buy one.
Right?
Can't even special order one.
You know, the Ford Raptor is just a cool looking truck that, you know, had a lot of design cues, the wide fenders that come directly from Baja Racing. You know, the F-350 towing capacity, diesel under the hood, just that heavy-duty truck itself, combined with that Raptor look, you know I'm gonna be a fan of that.
Can you do it?
Come on, man. Come on. You're in the right spot for that, for sure.
My whole life, I always had crazy, weird stuff. My first car was a Ford Bronco that me and my buddies put a Mustang motor in it. Through the years, I just kept coming up with different ideas for different types of trucks, and this is the next one I want to do.
I love it, love it. One of the first things we'd have to do to it is change the whole front end. Brand new fenders on the front, grille, bumper, hood. We're gonna do it. We gotta
Do it right.
And, you know, the steps, that's gotta go. We gotta have a retractable step, so you don't even see that.
It'll give it a
coming
nicer
down
look.
the road. Yeah, man, it's a good looking truck.
Thank you.
But we can definitely make it cooler.
Okay, tell me how.
You know, one of the big things that the F-350 has is that 6-foot bed. And, you know, a Raptor has that 5.5-foot bed. You know, it doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're driving down the road, shortening that wheelbase totally changes the look of the truck when it's passing you by. You're going, oh, wow, man, there's something really different about that truck versus all the other 350s on the road.
Exactly. Is it gonna work?
Oh, absolutely. We're gonna make it work.
You're gonna
You know,
make
it
it work?
just doesn't work. You gotta make it work.
You gotta make it work. Okay. And as long as it drives nice on the road,
Absolutely.
throw my family in it, take them to the beach,
Absolutely.
drive on the beach.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You know, switch up suspension, give you a little bit more travel. We'll build a brand new parallel 4-link with coilovers on the back to match that front. You don't want it to just look good. You want it to be able to go off-road a little. That's just gonna put it over the top. You know, maybe even a bed cage in the back with 2 spares in the back would just totally make it look, you know, that Baja
Just
style.
in case I get 2 flats.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You're prepared. You know, of course, wheels and tires, big, wide fenders on the back also.
Like a
Even
Raptor. I want somebody to walk past the truck and be like, did Ford make that?
when customizing is done right, that's exactly what happens.
I want to fool people.
Exactly. Man, if you're ready to do it, I'm ready to do it.
I'll leave you the keys and fly back.
Let's make it happen.
Let's do it.
You know, Carmen's F-350 as is a lot of people's dream truck. Runs good, got plenty of power. He's just not happy enough with that. I totally get Carmen's dilemma, you know, needing that 1-ton truck for work, but loving that styling of a Raptor, that Baja look, just wanting something that nobody else has when you're driving down the road. That's the name of the game. You know, I can really understand why people like the Raptors, that off-road look that you're driving on-road. I mean, that's cool. You know, anybody can buy an F-350. You know, anybody can buy a Raptor, but taking that idea of combining both of them, of course, I'm in. Let's make it happen.
I wonder what we're doing with this one, dude.
Yeah, no rusty bolts, no grease, grime, nothing. Come apart easy.
This thing's gonna be cool, man. You know, this guy's got a pretty good idea. He wants to turn his F-350 into a Raptor.
They don't make that package?
No, you can't order that.
Really?
You can't order a heavy-duty Raptor, only the half-ton. So we're basically turning this heavy-duty truck into a Baja truck.
That was one of my favorite builds, was your Baja truck.
Yeah, that's fun.
That truck is so much fun.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
So that's what we're gonna do, is just transform this into something Ford never made. So what we need to do is start off, of course, wheels and tires. We want that Baja-style look, right? So we're gonna have wide fenders in the front, wide bed sides in the back. You know, we're gonna give it a little bit of lift, you know, bumpers front and back. You know, a Baja-style bumper isn't gonna be around for the F-350.
Of course.
So we're gonna have to take Baja-style bumpers for F-150 and then modify it to this truck.
It's definitely gonna set it apart from all the 350s.
You know what else we need? You want the dual tires in the bed. So that's a signature Baja, right?
That's what you see, and you know that's what it is.
You know, you gotta have the spare tire. And of course, lighting.
Whole front clip,
Whole entire
whole
front
back clip.
Yeah. If we're turning it into a Baja truck, that's something you gotta have. And, you know, one of the things that really stand out on this is going from the 6-foot bed that's on here to the Raptor style, which is 5.5 foot. So in order to put that shorter bed on, we're gonna have to shorten the wheelbase.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of work here and there, but that's it.
That's
All work, right? So what we'll do to shorten the wheelbase, we'll just build a 4-link on it with air suspension. So we can manipulate the wheelbase
Yeah.
in the 4-link.
Yeah.
And then just cut the rear of the frame horn off and...
Yeah, we'll figure out bed mounts or whatever we gotta do when the time comes. You know, it's just something he's not really gonna be taking off-road a lot, but we will put some nice shocks on it in case he ever does wanna, you know, jump the curb and go down the side of the freeway and, you know, hit some jumps along the way.
This sounds so familiar.
So basically we're keeping the cab. It's like, that's it.
Yeah,
I
cab,
like it. I
engine,
love
and
it.
trans.
That's so cool, man.
Great.
You know, all in all, I mean, I love projects like this. Building something that nobody's seen before. People are gonna be trying to order these. Like, go to the dealer and say, hey, I want that.
I seen this one on the highway. I know y'all got it.
This is gonna be something we can get in, put our signature on it, and just roll out and show the world how we build cool cars and trucks. So y'all ready to get it?
Let's do it, man.
Let's do it. You know, this is a brand new truck, so we're gonna be extra careful with this teardown.
First thing is, go ahead and start getting this bed off. Before I do that, I'm gonna have to grind all these bed bolts right here because they got a lot of build up from the bed liner in there. Now disconnect all the electrical. That's going through the bed floor to the tailgate right here. It should come right off. Let's go ahead and pull it off easy, straight back. Yep. Thank you, guys.
So we ordered a half-ton crew cab bed that's way shorter than the 350 short bed. All the mounting is totally different, but it's gonna line up perfectly.
Put your hand between the cab.
You get the back center, Jamie?
Pretty good right there, huh?
You know, like any project, you have an idea in your head how it's gonna go, right? I was thinking the bed was just gonna bolt in place and we're gonna chop the back of the frame off, shorten the wheelbase, but of course not. The bed floor is totally different from each other, so there's nothing that lines up. So we're gonna have to make our own specific bed mounts here and here. That's the first issue. Once the back of the frame's chopped off, we got the bed mounted, then we can get down to business and actually modify the bed size. I think we're on plan C already, and they ain't even got started. You know, having that vision is critical when you're turning an F-350 into a Raptor. You know, we always try to figure out what can go wrong before it happens. Like this crew cab F-150 bed, not fitting on this F-350. You know, but like anything, we figure out the problem, address it, get it handled, and get this bed on. And this time, we're gonna start by making new bed mounts. So what we got here, we had Jesse burnish out some 1/8" plate. What I'm gonna do is build a little channel that the bed will set flat on, and then we can weld right to the frame itself. We just got to do a little notchy. All we have to do now is go from the top, poke a hole right in it. We got a perfect spot to bolt the bed to the frame. Then once we pull the bed off, we can just round it, shape it, make it look perfect. It'll look like it came that way from the factory.
I'm gonna go ahead and start drilling through the bed. I'm gonna go ahead and put our bolts in there. All right, hit it with the impact. One more bump. All right. Once I get our bolts anchored in, I'll go ahead and tack the braces on the bed so I'll know that's the placement of them. All right. So now we got the bed off. You can see the braces that Bill and I made. We'll go ahead and weld these out, and that's gonna be done.
You know, now we know where this bed's gonna sit, we can tear out all that suspension.
So, you know, obviously we're going with a shorter bed, so we're not gonna need this portion of the frame. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and chop this off. We'll be able to put our bumper back. You know, this hanging off, the backside of the truck's gonna be unproportional. So shorter bed, shorter frame, make quick work of it. All right, that'll do.
Chop it on the floor. 13 3/4. Right here. All right. So the next step is building our 4-link, connecting the rear end to the frame itself. So it all tracks straight, rides good, handles good. We're gonna go with the parallel 4-link. He still wants to be able to use this for work and still wants it to look like a Baja truck, and you still want it to ride good. So with the 4-link, we're gonna install big airbags in place of the leaf springs. You know, not to make it low, not to make it high, just for ride quality and to still be able to tow whatever he wants. This right here, see that seam right there? Is even with the outside of this 4-link. 6 3/4, let's do it. Cool, we got a last little part of our suspension is the lower 4-link bar. So we're just gonna tack it in place on the axle itself, and that's gonna locate where it's gonna be on the frame. That looks good, man.
Definitely.
Nice parallel. Shoot, that definitely connects the rear end to the frame.
You know, really kind of starting to look like a short bed Raptor truck now. It's a wolf in sheep's clothing.
So our next step is just weld all that out. Let's get that done. And then we'll go on to the bag mounts themselves. Man, caught you working.
Oh, you know, try and get this order filled out. Speaking of work, how's that Rolls Royce going?
You heard, right?
I heard and I seen.
Looks like somebody's been using it for target practice.
Right. Yeah. It looked
But-
good before sitting just out in the parking lot, and then you took it and got stripped and
It's overwhelming for sure.
Yeah.
Good thing we got somebody like Cisco and his son Boston can come in and help out. They're just cutting out patches on top of patches on top of patches.
Wow.
I mean, they're gonna start making a brand new rocker from the front wheel well all the way to the back wheel well. So gonna need some sheet metal. Not the regular 20 gauge, but the galvanneal.
The good stuff.
Yeah. We're gonna hand-build a hand-built car.
Yeah. I think all of us is going to be busy on this one.
Absolutely.
Speaking of work, I got to get back to it.
Get it shipped out.
I'm going to do it.
Cisco's done making the rear part of the rockers. Now he's gonna make the front part of the rockers.
So now we're gonna start building our channels that's gonna mimic the old rocker panels on here. This will mimic the panel we cut off earlier. So I'll put new holes in this. We'll plug weld it right to the original panel and it'll look like factory at that point. So the next step, now that I got this bent the right angle and it's the right length, I'm gonna go with a bead roller. I'm gonna do a little finisher edge on this thing. I got a nice little rolled edge. Finishes off that panel a lot nicer. Rolls up over the top instead of just being a sharp point sticking up. Those are ready to weld on. I'm super excited to be here and work with my son Boston on this. He's been super excited ever since the day I told him about it. I had to pull him out of school. So that was interesting to tell all the teachers, you know, and they didn't give him any homework or nothing to do. They said, I'm glad he's going, that's cool. So that's always a great experience.
It's cool, so we got them all welded done, and now it's part of the car. Ain't going nowhere.
So our new rocker will slide right over the top of that and come down and hook right to the bottom of our inner rocker that we built. And I'm gonna go ahead and start making the pattern for this center bar here. It's gonna be kind of a weird shape. It's gonna be flat. It's gonna go back and be rounded all at the same time. You can get it close though and then hit it with a sander and finish it off. I corner welded it on the outside, and you always want to do that on any time you can. Get to the outside corner of something and weld it, because if you weld the inside corner, you get a lot of buildup. If you want it to look crisp and clean, it's hard to get that inside edge ground down with a grinder to look smooth. So we got everything welded in place, and our door gaps are pretty far off. So I'm gonna pry this over gently. I'm gonna need you to grab the welder and tack this real quick. Ready? Okay. Now, our gap should be doable. That's doable. Now we can trim that up. We get a nice even gap that's gonna be the same around the whole door for both these panels all the way down.
You know, when you're rebuilding a 60-year-old vehicle like the Rolls-Royce, you know, the big thing is just bringing it back, making it stronger for the next 60 years or even 100. So right now, Cisco's rebuilding the rockers, even better they were from the factory.
We're gonna start building the outside skin of this rocker, make it look like a finished car again. Let's try it on the car. I think we're pretty darn close. It's hard to get it all the way in. Try to trim this rocker off here. Before I can put these rockers on, I've got to have these doors in the proper space. Every door gap is touching, 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 touching. So I got to wrap my mind around why it could be like that, what could have caused it, and how I can fix it. So what I'm trying to do is get these body lines to line up. That's the belt line of the car. That's the center. So if I get a decent body line up all through there, if these doors aren't straight, then my rockers will be in the wrong spot. That's a straight line, and that is not. So our 1/4 inch shorter door here compared to our longer door. So this one is turning lower and this one's turning higher. So there's no way around it. We're gonna have to either add some to this door or take some off of this door once I put my new rocker in place. I'm messing with the eyes, it's an illusion. These cars are all coach built. They're all built by hand, usually by a couple of guys at one time back in the day. So I'm gonna put my new rocker in place straight with the body lines straight and gapped at the top. And then we'll have to adjust these door gaps on the bottom with cutting and adding material to get them so they line up good with the car. All right, Now we got it clamped in, fits good. I'll do this exact thing 3 more times.
You know, a few years back, I built my own Baja truck out of an old wrecked F-150, and I've had a lot of fun with it. Turning this 22 F-350 into a Raptor, you know, that means giving him that Baja look, but still being able to let him tow whatever he wants. I got my measurements of where the bags need to sit on the axle. Then I'm gonna tack some spacers together so the bag is simulated at ride height. So I know the lower bag mount's perfectly centered under the upper bag mount. Everything's where it needs to be. All I need to do is make mounts from the lower bag mounts to the axle and from the upper bag mount up to the frame. Oh man, this is just the way to go. I mean, to get rid of the leaf springs, you can put whatever weight you want on it and it's gonna squat the truck. You just air it right up a little bit and you're riding at the same ride height and still riding on air.
It's definitely got that nice aggressive look to it, slick, kind of flows everything. This is gonna look good once it's finished out.
I kind of want to replicate some little shock coupe, kind of Baja style, so we'll connect it back to the frame so everything will be one piece and it'll look really cool. So when you're looking in that big old fender well, you'll see some nice tube work in it. Just gonna give it that Baja style. Man, the tubular upper bag mount looks really, really good. Nice and strong. 1.5 inch schedule 80. It's not going anywhere. You know, a couple things left is I'm gonna take our bag spacers out, bottom the rear end all the way out, and then we're gonna build our shock mounts. We got our upper shock mount made, so all we're gonna do is place our tabs on the rear end itself. The shock mounts are done. You know, we ain't doing all this just to ride around the streets in New Jersey. It's definitely made to do whatever punishment he's gonna put it through, this is gonna take it. The last part of the suspension is the panhard bar itself. You know, we don't have any leaf springs anymore to keep the rear end from going side to side. So that's exactly what a panhard bar does. It's a hard mount from the frame itself over to the axle, and that keeps everything in place. I like the way everything turned out. I mean, we got the bed mounted, frame cut off, 4-link done, shock mounts, bag mounts, super short wheelbase.
It's a Raptor.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, good morning, Carmen. What's happening?
Good morning, Bill. How are you?
Man, doing good, doing good. I heard you wanted to have a little talk this morning.
It was more of an ask than a talk about. Hopefully you can make some magic. I wasn't able to have a sunroof in the truck.
Right.
And my kid has a Platinum Series 1, and he has a sunroof.
It's super easy to put a sunroof in it. We can cut a hole and just drop a roof in it for you, no problem.
Yeah, but I want a real Ford panoramic sunroof.
Oh, you want the factory roof installed in your truck? Man, that's...
When you push the button, it works just like factory.
You know, that's a little more involved than just cutting a hole and dropping a sunroof in for sure.
I want what I want. I really do.
Hey, you want what you want, right? It's labor intensive for sure, but in one way or another, man, we're gonna make it happen for you.
Cool. Thank you. Thank
yeah,
you so
man.
much.
Is there anything else?
You really want me to say? I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I'll talk to you later. Man, you got some work to do, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, adding the panoramic roof to this 22 F-350 Raptor is gonna put this build even more over the top. You know, the thing about adding a roof like this, if you don't do it right, you're gonna add a whole lot of headaches later. So I'm gonna bring in the expert to get it done right that first time.
Once we get the old roof off, then we'll find out what we need to cut on the inner structure to put this panoramic roof on. So these are all the bolts that hold both sides of the roof. This is what keeps the roof dry and gives it its structural integrity. The hardest part really of this whole roof is saving this piece right here is where I just took out all the bolts at, because this overlaps everything. Just slide it right off. And that's gonna expose the whole seam where the roof lays over top. I'm all into custom stuff. Collision work pays the bills. Custom's where the fun's at. Since we got all the heads of the rivets grinded out, we're gonna just take a chisel and a hammer and start popping them all loose. Everything's loose, so we're ready for the torch now. We got a main front cab brace that runs right along this section, and it's all glued, so we're gonna heat it up a little bit and make it release. I think we're all loose. All right, we're loose. You got it? Roof's off. All right, we got our new roof skin with the panoramic hole cut out in it. We're gonna prep all of our edges now. We're gonna get the whole perimeter sanded down, put the glue on the roof. We're gonna make a roof sandwich. We're gonna lay our panel bond down on all of our prep surfaces. Now we have 90 minutes to get this all glued and the roof set on here before this stuff starts to cure. Yep, so pretty much we're just gonna drop it down. Then we can maneuver it around a little bit once it's down. Went from a solid roof to a hole in the roof. So all we're gonna do is start reversing the process. We're gonna bolt down both sides, and then we'll start riveting the front and the back, and then we'll be done. All right, now all the bolts are in. We need to drill 6 holes and set 6 rivets, 3 down each back of the cab corner. A normal rivet, you would have to drill a hole like the 3 that I just put in. With this, it actually punches the hole and everything all in one shot.
Man, you got it, huh?
Yeah, we're done. Went really easy.
So this is to factory spec.
Yes, it has all the glue, all the rivets, just like they did from the factory.
That's exactly what we needed, man. I appreciate that. It looks real good. Now it's ready for paint.
Yeah, it is.
Shoot, no body work, nothing.
No body work. The only thing you need to do is run a little bead of seam sealer right down this little piece and then squirt it.
Man, yeah. I appreciate you helping us out, man.
You're very welcome.
Looks good.
Thank you.
You know, we've got the bed mounted. Now it's time for those new bed sides. We have the factory F-150 bed. It's super short, 5.5-foot bed. So we're gonna cut basically the perimeter all the way around, remove the factory bed side and replace it with the fiberglass. See the factory bed side and you see the mean, wide look. It's gonna look good. It's gonna look tough.
We're not gonna use this, so my concern's not with this piece, it's with the inner frame. I just wanna hold the structural integrity of the bedside, cut as least I can, leave as much there, and I can trim it back as I need to.
Let's see. Man, it looks good, man. It looks good.
I'm ready to see it on the truck.
You all right? Well, shoot, let's spin it around, throw it on the truck, see what it looks like.
That's it. Okay, so now we got our bedsides on. Now we gotta connect this void right here. So what I'm basically gonna do is make a filler for all the way into here. But before I start, I gotta go ahead and cut this excess off right here so I can stretch my filler all the way over to the bedside. So when you're duplicating each side, it just makes a lot more sense to do everything in pairs. What I like to do is when I'm doing one side, I'll do the other side. And when I'm starting to put it together, I'll do the same thing. Finish one piece, just do the other piece. Okay, so now you can see I got my fender well in. Everything's tech screwed in. I really like the way this came out. I mean, I got it all the way up against my fiberglass. That's golden to me.
With the front rockers done on that 64 rolls, Cisco's gonna move on to that toughest part to rebuild, that dog leg.
It's got a couple of compound curves. It curves outways and inways at the same time. So there's gotta be a transition of this round flare coming in like this and disappearing, but also transitioning into a reverse curve of this rocker. Other stuff we were doing in 16 and 18 gauge for the rockers, but for this complicated piece, got a lot of bends and turns. I'm gonna switch up to 20 gauge. It's a little thinner, a little easier to work with, but since it's so small and it's gonna be so curvy, it'll still be strong. So now what we're gonna use is our planishing hammer, and it's giving it that curve of the shape of the top die or the bottom die right here. Sounds pretty violent, but it's not that bad. Wow, that actually worked out really well. So now I can go ahead and mark this door edge where I want it to be at now. There's the first part of our dog leg completed. So now these clecos will hold this in place in placement of a screw or a sheet metal screw or something like that. It doesn't leave any burrs. So when you go to take them off, run your hand over it, you don't slice your hands up. But they'll hold this in place now while I can go ahead and fabricate this last piece here. So I think I'm gonna start with a piece of metal shaped about like this. So this is a perfect example of when you're doing custom work. There's no manual to this. There's no IKEA instructions. It tells you to put part A in slot B. It's just try it, make it work. If it doesn't fit, try it again. You always gotta cut it big, work your way small, get you a bunch of little pieces cutting off every single time. Ow. And that there is why I have black thumbs. So we're pretty close right there. I built the radius into this panel now instead of building into this. So now I can trim this edge and butt it right up against that, and my panel will have a nice rounded edge. So sometimes when building these little pieces like this, you kind of just have to let the metal talk to you, let it tell you where it wants to be. You can kind of force it, but sometimes you'll be fighting something for 1/8 of an inch, and 99% of the time that 1/8 of an inch isn't gonna matter on which panel you put it on. This whole rocker panel is just looking really good right now. I like it. The next thing we're gonna do is build the inner rocker cap here. Then we can call this rocker done.
You know, building this piece on the 64 rolls is the hardest part with all the curves and contours in it. You know, it takes years to build up your craft and have nobody notice what's been done.
So the skill level involved in building some of this stuff is learned by making a lot of mistakes. I've messed up a lot more things than most people have even built. A lot of self-schooling. There's been some training here and there. I've taken a couple of classes to learn a lot of the finite stuff, but for the most part, it's just trial and error and a lot of error. So you do things enough times, you learn little tricks here and there to help you on the next one, but you'll never finish learning.
When you're working on a job that requires as much work as the 64 rolls, you just try to avoid getting lost in all the things you have left to do. You just have to chip away one job at a time, day by day, and just appreciate those little milestones. Today is just finishing up that little dog leg, Then we're gonna be moving on to that frame, suspension, engine, body, and that interior. And then all those little wins come one unforgettable masterpiece.
All right, looks good. Looks real good. I'm really happy with how this turned out. We got structural on the inside, no more Swiss cheese.
We're turning this 22 F-350 into a Raptor. We don't want to go too overboard. We still want that F-350 rugged look. It's really been bugging me on this. I mean, the bed sides are for an F-150, the super small lights. I mean, everybody sees these. What this truck needs is the F-350 taillights. I mean, we got to have that big Super Duty look with the Raptor bed. Chop it up! So we're gonna modify this to accept the big, heavy-duty taillight. That's right there.
Pretty much gonna try to save the design right here, right?
Yeah, we're gonna take this and scoot it down. We're trying to minimize as much cutting as possible, so we're just gonna take sections out of this and save parts and pieces and try to make it fit around the 350 taillight.
I'm fascinated how we're gonna put those new lights in here because nobody really has done that. And I mean, we always have to upgrade around here. Bigger truck, bigger taillights, it's gonna look great. We're gonna make it work.
Hell yeah. We'll do fiberglass work over it and then the final body work. To give this truck a meaner, more of a Baja look, we're gonna install a new front bumper.
So I'm gonna go ahead and take off the old bumper brackets and make some new ones for this bumper. Ooh. It ain't flat. The sharp bit.
Man, it fits good, it looks good.
Yeah.
But we got a problem.
What's that?
We got these big, wide front fenders on it, and this just isn't gonna work. We need to bring this out, make this look like it's not an afterthought, right?
Uh-huh.
So let's get the bumper off. Let's split this right here.
Okay.
And then we got a nice spot to build off of.
That's gonna be weird too. That's where he's going. It's the same width right here as this.
Get the bumper all the way out here on the edge so it doesn't look like it's off of 3 different trucks, right? We want to make it look like it's one cohesive unit.
Got a little modification. Got everything slicked right on out. Bumper stretched a little bit. Look, perfect. Now, off the powder coat. Oh, my nose just popped.
You ready to switch off?
Yes.
I love working with Boston. I had a shop on my property when he was born, and my wife would bring him out to the shop. He would hang out with me, pick up every tool that was on the ground, to the point where he was welding at 5 years old. He could use my brakes. He could use the tubing bender. He built a bicycle at 7 years old. Like he does here, if I need to hold something to have him weld it, he was my third hand all the time, even as a little kid. He literally just turned 15 this last weekend. He comes home from school, he'd go out on the back porch, work on his own truck until dark, and he's hanging lights so he can keep working into the night, you know. He's like, Dad, I got all my wheel wells cut out, or I got my frame taken off, or I got my suspension, or I took the dash out. And I'm just like, that was a running car earlier, and now you got it all torn apart. He's like, yeah, but I'm gonna customize it. I'm gonna build a new dash. I'm gonna build a roll cage in it. I'm just like, okay, that's awesome. Like, I can't wait. It was me at 15 years old, except he's got 10 years experience before me. It's gonna be pretty amazing to see what he can build and what he can become in the next 10 years.
Just saying you're gonna turn a new F-350 into a Raptor, it's a good first step in a build. But making it look like it came from the factory like that is a whole nother thing. The suspension is back from powder.
Just looking at this thing, it's starting to come together. You know, I'm starting to see the picture that Bill has is the 350 Raptor now.
We body worked and color matched all the parts that we installed on the bed. and added a tire rack.
No scratchy. Once we put this rack in, it's really gonna give it that Baja look, that Baja feel. When we throw those pair of tires in there, it's definitely gonna set it off. I love that.
All those final details added up. Now it's time to give it back. Carmen, what's happening?
How are you?
How you doing, man?
Good.
I know meeting an East Coast Italian out here in an empty field might be a little sketchy.
Might be sketchy for you. I'll be fine.
Well, I got something for you, man.
I'm dying to see it.
Well, let's see it.
Let's see it.
Jamie.
Wow, that thing looks great.
I told you.
It's freaking cool.
You gotta like that.
Love it. I love the stance. I love the way it looks. It doesn't even look street legal. It's everything I was hoping for with the wide stance, the lift that's on it. I am more than happy.
Like it?
Love it. Love it. I didn't think it was gonna look like that.
This is something we're proud of, huh?
Definitely, man.
Long gone is that work truck, right?
Yeah.
We got it in the shop, got it all tore apart. We got the old running boards off, we got the retractable steps, we got new front suspension.
Wow.
You're not gonna feel like you're driving a brick anymore.
This thing looks like the ultimate beach truck right now.
Yeah, man. We had to get rid of the factory fenders and put that wide Baja style on the front. Capped it off with the front bumper, and we had to stretch that and make it wider, too, to come out to those big, wide fenders.
That's amazing.
Yeah, when it's coming at you, man, it just looks mean.
Looks tough.
And you threw us for a loop on this, too. You couldn't get this truck with that big panoramic roof that you wanted.
I got a panoramic sunroof now?
Yeah, man. We got you hooked
You're
up.
the man. You're the man.
And to finish it off, man, we had to get the wheels and tires right.
It blows my mind. It looks right. It looks
the
way it should look.
Exactly. And those are 40s on there, too, man. That's just not a 37. That would look just puny on a truck like this. These wheels and tires just totally fit this truck and make it 100% complete. If you like all that, we got some more for you in the back.
Let's check it out. Wow. Super Duty Raptor.
I tell you what, that was a great call going from the short bed to a shorter bed, but it doesn't just bolt on here for sure. We had to shorten the wheelbase over a foot. And when you do that, everything had to be changed. We had to build a heavy-duty four-link for it to center that axle where it needed to be on that new bed. Had to build new shock mounts, airbag mounts. I mean, everything underneath the truck, we had to redo.
Amazing.
But I tell you what, after seeing the truck, that wheelbase looks absolutely perfect on the truck.
It's leaving me speechless a little bit. Like, I'm looking at everything and it's like, I can't believe, like, it even says F-350 Raptor. That's so cool. What really blows my mind is he got the Super Duty taillights to fit in a Raptor-style bed, and it looks like Ford did it.
Getting that 5.5-foot bed, putting those fiberglass fenders on it, making it that same width as the back, it looks like something you would go buy.
It looks factory.
Right?
It looks factory.
Yeah, it looks like Ford should make those, right?
They should.
Carmen keeps saying it just belongs, and I love hearing that. Everything is tied together. Nothing really sticks out like a sore thumb. That, to me, is the perfect customization. Of course, we had to put that chase rack in the back, so Jamie got down with that.
It just was missing that. You know, it's got every Raptor feel to it. You know,
looks cool.
It had to have this.
Needed them.
Needed them. You gotta, that just finishes it off.
I've said it many, many times, but this isn't a one-man band. I mean, it takes everybody in the shop to do what they do. And one more time, of course, we make dreams into actual reality.
I love it. It's what I wanted, and it worked. I can't wait to take this home, show the naysayers, shove it in their face, and show them what you guys are able to do. Thank you.
Enjoy it.